advisor. He has had, just can't get enough of us lately. So he's going to give you an update on where we were at with the second phase of the bond refinance that we did.
You're saving us enough money so that we could add minutes to the day and pay teachers for this PLC time, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and probably get a thank you from the governor.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 weeks ago today, the board president and clerk signed the bond purchase agreement for the sale of the 2016 B general obligation refunding issue. The week prior, interest rates broke back down to a level that was very acceptable to me and to staff with that. So 2 weeks ago, the bonds were sold, and we're bringing up the table that you may have in your possession. As you may remember, that we refinanced the 2009 B issue with the 2016 A issue, and this savings was locked in. With that $2,549,000, which $1,172,000 went back to the governor, and you're going to keep $1,376,000 with that. On the series, refunding the series 2009A with the 2016 B, we had a goal of the savings to the school district of $250,000. It ended up being $332,000 that the district will have, and the governor will get back $282,392. So the total savings of from the transaction is $3,164,000, of which the school district will benefit $1,709,000.
Looks like it got cut off. It's on these sheets.
Yeah, it's a handout that you have.
Yeah.
So before you is a resolution that authorizes the transaction to be totally consummated, but we are sort of committed with the bond purchase agreement. But questions any of the board members or staff may have at this point in time? Our car lecture's got to stop my job. So.
John, this is the same process, the same culmination like we did at the conclusion of the first.
Right. Yeah, you agreed that a certain amount of savings could happen, that the board president and the clerk would be authorized to sign a BPA. The $2,250 was the minimum required, recommended by staff to get $332. So we hit it when we had the opportunity.
Any questions?
Is there a motion to approve the bond refinance resolution?
I'm making a motion to approve the bond refinance resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Scaredy cats. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving it? Raise your hand. Any opposed, say the same. The resolution passed.
If I could, Madam Chair, I want to thank the board and the staff members for allowing us to do this. It kind of hit me, I don't know why. But I've been working with the school for a long time now. And I'm not saying I'm retiring, but I'm getting close. So the odds of working with you again are getting slimmer and slimmer.
Thank you. Thank you.
John, I'd like to thank each of you for providing great help for our business over a number of years. And this is a considerable amount of money that this is saving our district and local taxpayers and the governor and the state. It does take work. It does take people to make this happen, people looking out for the best interests of our community, of our kids. And we couldn't do this without your assistance, so we do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
John, I'd just like to say that you saved us $1.7 million, and you're welcome back anytime.
Next time you have lunch and cookies.
Well, to them.
asking you to take action tonight.
Thank God.
We would like to provide you with some information on empowering writers. I'm going to give you a quick overview, and then I'm going to let Becca and Emily present to you the information that they presented to Curriculum Council a few weeks ago. Just kind of as an overview, about 5 years ago, we had writing teachers in classrooms that taught writing. And about that time, the College and Career Ready standards came around, and we realized that we really needed to have reciprocity between our reading and writing processes. So we put writing back in the classroom. Then a couple of years ago, I had a couple coaches come to me and say, you know, writing really isn't working with Houghton Mifflin, because at that time, we've never really had a standalone reading program or a standalone writing program. It's always been integrated with our reading program. So they were saying that the teachers were having a hard time knowing how to teach writing because they hadn't done it for a long time. And also that they didn't feel like they were getting the outcomes from their students that they should be getting. And it wasn't really aligned with Common Core standards because there wasn't a lot of argumentative writing, that type of thing in it. And my comment to them was, if you can find something as a standalone program out there that's pretty good, let's look at it. I didn't think they would find one, but they found Empowering Writers. The next question was, can we pilot it? At about the same time we were doing Engage New York, and I said, I don't think that's a good idea, because that's a lot to pilot in 1 year. And the Buffalo Jones teachers came to me and they said, we really want to pilot it, so how can we turn that down? So they spent a year doing Empowering Writers and Engage New York, and I thought, this is going to kill them. But at the end of last year, we talked about how it was going, and they said, we would like to have another year with it. In the meantime, they had been talking to a lot of their teacher friends, and they were generating a lot of interest from other schools. So we opened it up to the other schools and said, if you would like to pilot this, you know, let us know, and we will purchase the material so you can get on board also. At that time, we had every school say, we would like to use this program because we have heard so many good things about it. The only holdout was a 6th grade at Bernadine Sitz, and it's okay, I'm not throwing them under the bus, because we have Emily from Buffalo Jones here tonight, and we have Becca from Bernadine Sitz, and I think that they're going to tell you what they think of it. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
When we collaborated as a committee to look at Empowering Writers and evaluate it, how it went this year and what we should do with it, and is it something that should stay or go, is it worth our time, we really went back to the basics that we know in the rigor relevance framework, which just helps us promote higher standards in student achievement. So when we looked at Empowering Writers, we really wanted to see how is it doing on all 3 levels. How is it doing on the rigor? What is the quantitative data that's coming back from it? How is it helping college and career ready standards in our classroom? The relevance, what was the student's perspective of it? What quantitative data could we gather? And then really, what relationship were they making with writing? Was it better? Was it worse for teachers and students alike, I guess? So as a committee, that's what we focused on when we were trying to see how effective this program was working.
When we looked at the rigor, we looked at 4 different aspects of it. We looked at the types and the purposes. They have 3 types. They have informative, which is our expository nonfiction. So the kids are constantly analyzing and looking at the information, the narrative. They're writing real information. The narrative, which is the fiction, the not real. They're personal narratives. And then we have the argumentative and opinion piece. In the lower grades, there's not as much opinion. We're introducing it, so they're learning the steps. And as we're doing it in K1, because K1 is the foundation, and that's what I've been teaching, we're teaching each aspect of it, and we start out small and we gradually get bigger. Right now with the informative, the framework calls for students in the K1 to write a topic, 2 facts, and a conclusion. Since my kids have been doing it for 2 years now, they're writing a topic, 4 facts, and a conclusion. So they're starting to write a lot more. And we do a research part. That's not as big in the K1. Again, we're just building that foundation, trying to get them to learn how to do research. And that's a lot of modeling, a lot of I'm doing it with you. We just got done doing that part of our research part of the Empowering Writers, and my students are getting really good at starting to write notes themselves. Production, they're having clear and coherent writing. They're, we're planning, they have their pillar, I guess is what it's called, their pillar. So they're planning, then they're revising, they're getting with partners, and they're revising what they're writing, and then they rewrite it. So we're going through the different stages. And then we're throwing in the technology piece as well. In April and May in K1, we're starting to do PowerPoints, so they're getting introduced to that technology. And then the range, they're writing every day. There's some kind of writing every day. The extended time isn't in every school. At my school, we have a 45-minute writing block, but not all schools have that. And we found that it's really relevant to have that 45-minute writing block because it gives them a lot more time to write. And because we tie in reading with the writing, so we have to do a book with the writing. And when you only have that 30 minutes, it doesn't give a whole lot of time for the writing. And we have different purposes, and there's a diverse audience.
The 2nd through 6th grade looks very different. Obviously, Emily does the foundational skills. At our level, they are producing 5 paragraph essays. They're also, for informative, for narrative, they're creating 2 to 3 stories. We even got a grant from the Kiwanis this year to produce books, actual narrative books. Our 6th grade class, we created them. Each student had their own. They took them home. That was pretty exciting. The one piece that we are missing at the 5th and 6th grade level is that argumentative opinion piece. That's something we're going to look at next year. How do we increase it? How do we make it more relevant, especially with the multidisciplinary tests and the expectations of the opinion argumentative piece? Our kids are doing about 4 to 6 research projects a year. Typically, those are tied in with social studies and science. And so that is great because it's also combining with our constructed responses of the race skills, that citation piece. So it's really great that 2 writing strategies are coming together that our kids have already previously known and now building upon a new one. Our kids are producing an awesome amount of work. Not only are they doing Word, they know how to do Microsoft Publisher, they know how to create ads. I have an enrichment group that's publishing their own blog about school-related events that are important to them, whether it's news or features or opinions. It's amazing what our kids will do if you give them some exciting things to do on, especially the internet. The range, we write routinely at the 5th and 6th grade level through our committee. We realize that that needs to be more present next year, making sure that everyone's getting that 30 to 45-minute piece, just like reading and writing go hand in hand. The different purposes and audience and ad, that they think that could go in a newspaper, to writing a letter to the principal, to increase recess time or school lunch. That's exciting and informative for them. So we're really building upon those skills that they're learning at the K1 level, and we hope that it's just going to get better each and every year that the kids keep having it. I hope that the kids that she had last year get to me in 3 or 4 years, and this is just going to be a whole range of projects instead of teaching them those foundational skills that we're really working on right now.
Well, the neat thing is I have the same kids from kindergarten because I looked up with my kids. So I can see where they started in kindergarten, where they're just copying what I'm writing to writing on their own. So that's an amazing growth with them. And another thing, Becca said something about publishing, but our 1st grade teachers, there's a publishing company that allows us to publish a book, and our 1st graders all published a book. They wrote a personal narrative, and it's being published, so we'll have to share that with you. We did it last year also, so it's a fun experience with them with publishing. So we did quantitative data. We took a bunch of, or we gave the kids a prompt at the beginning of the year, and then we gave it to them again in February?
Yeah,
February. And we brought that data to our committee, and we analyzed it. And K1, their growth was 45% from where they were at the beginning of the year to February. 2nd through 4th was 34%, and 5th and 6th was 44% growth. Overall, we had 41% growth in our students with their writing. And we have surveys, which Becca's going to share.
Are those numbers for all schools or just your school?
That's
No.
district-wide.
District-wide, our committee is 2 to 3 teachers per school, per elementary school are on the committee. We took a high, medium, and low student from each classroom, and we followed them from the beginning of the year to February. So we took one sample at the beginning of the year, we rubric scored it in our PLCs, and then at the end of the year, we took the same sample, so 5th and 6th we did expository, K through 4 did a narrative. We rubric scored it, and that's how we came up with percentages.
And the rubrics are from the Empowering Writers series.
And what grade are they publishing the book in? First grade?
First grade, and
Sixth grade.
and I published one in kindergarten last year for kids too, so.
Thanks.
When we wanted to look at the quantitative data, we wanted to know what the students thought. It's really hard to ask a K through 1 what they thought. So we had our teachers interview them at interview style, which is kind of fun. Did they like writing? Did they feel like they were good writers? What did they remember? Some great answers were said, as you can imagine, mouths of babies. And then for our 2nd through 6th grade, we asked them, did they feel more confident? Was this something that they saw in their everyday life? Was this useful for them? And so some of the results that came from it.
Our student surveys, the K1, over 90% think that they like writing. They're like, yeah, we like writing. And then over 90% say that they have had growth this year. And 2nd through 6th grade, over 80% like writing. They're more confident in their writing with a 6 or higher on the rubric. And they're seeing their personal gain from last year. So most of the schools, besides Buffalo Jones and Bernadette Sitz, were using Hoot Mifflin. So this year, all of us are using Empowering Writers. So they're saying, you know, we see more results from using this program than we did the other program. These are some of our results. For K1, what they like best is they're writing about different things. It's not the same thing, and it helps them with their homework. It doesn't make them tired. Before they were like, oh, I don't want to write, it made them tired. But now they're having fun with their writing. And they get to draw pictures with their writing. Because in Empowering Writers, they say that an illustration helps them with their writing. So they're illustrating. Some of them are writing first and then illustrating. But some of those kids that have struggled with their writing, they draw the picture first to get their thoughts down, and then they do their writing. So it just depends on what stage they are in their writing. And their parents like their writing. And then what they still need help with is remembering stuff. Sometimes they forget some of the stuff that they're supposed to write about. Their spelling, their capitalization, the size of their letters, and not starting my sentence off with and. So those are some things that they need to remember.
At the 2nd through 6th grade level, they're more organized. They're using a graphic organizer called the Pillar and the Narrative Diamond. What we really like about this is not only does it go from writing to reading, is that we're seeing them create it on their state test on their own. They're allowed to create whatever graphic organizer they want. And because it's consistent, these are the only 2 things we use all year long. They're creating it because that's the only thing that they use all year long. So it's really great. Instead of throwing all those graphic organizers at them, the 2 consistent ones are actually showing up that they're useful because we're using them all year. So that's helpful. They're using descriptive details. They're learning how to write suspense. They're taking some of like our William Allen White novels that they get to read every year, and they're saying, look, the strategy we just used, they used it in this novel. So they're seeing that connection with their literature. They're writing more, and they feel like their writing is better, and so that's awesome. They use it in science and social studies, especially with the 5th and 6th grade buildings. Their science, social studies, and writing teacher are the same, so we're seeing that connection. They're identifying it in their reading classes, which they're saying, like, they even told their reading teacher that she didn't know what a main idea was because she identified the wrong one compared to the way that we teach them how to write them. Yeah. They're using it in their stations. Our communications teachers are asking the writing teachers for help, and we're getting it in there so that they're not only writing, but they're reading the writers. They're becoming authors by identifying other authors. And then I already talked about that race connection. They're seeing it too, that race is helping their writing, and writing is helping their race responses.
Can I interrupt you a second? You spoke of Pillar and Diamonds styles or systems.
Yeah.
Is that the same as
No,
is that a
it's a
development?
graphic organizer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the pillar, it looks like a big eye, or like if you like to flip it upside down, it's 2 bookends with some smaller books in between.
Okay.
It's the way that they identify their main ideas and details.
Okay.
That's for the expository,
Expository.
and then the narrative's a diamond, which has the beginning, well, kindergarten and first is different, we just have beginning, middle, and end, but when they get into the upper grades,
It's like elaborative,
it has elaborative
beginning,
detail, suspense, and
main
just
idea,
great.
extended ending.
where they have to extend on that.
And the state allowed us to use blank copies of those the kids were allowed to choose from them. Most of them created them themselves. The last thing is relationships. So you think, oh, relationship with writing, how can you have a relationship with writing? It's who likes to write, right? Our kids are loving it. They love to write. They're not as exhausted. They have ideas. The literature connection is the biggest piece. So when they're reading a text, they're noticing these toolbox things that we gave them, and they're seeing how it's done, and they're not copying it, they're mimicking it. So they're coming up with their own words, but the same format and style, which then they're confident with what they're doing. There is a huge modeling piece. We said this at the MTSS Curriculum Council, is that we as teachers say, you know, we want to slow down, we want time to get this in, we want time to go deep. Well, empowering writers, the first 2 months you don't even write. And it was the most frustrating thing. In PLCs, we were tearing our hair out, like, when do the kids actually get to write? Well, what we didn't know is the program was giving us what we wanted, which was going deep and showing them how writers do write before they can write. And so that piece right there was just, that first produced piece was better than we ever thought. And it was because all that time we were thinking, when did they get to write? They were actually learning what writers are supposed to already know to write.
Overall, the kids are enjoying writing a lot more. My kids are, we do writing right after lunch, and normally kids are exhausted after lunch, recess, and now they're like, it's writing time, what are we gonna write about today? So they're always enthusiastic and having fun, and they're producing the work that's meaningful. It's not the quantity, it's the quality, and that's what we're trying to teach the kids. You don't have to write a lot. We want you to add these details, make it meaningful. As a parent, my son loves writing. He's a first grader, and he comes home and he will write a book. He'll say, Mom, I'm writing you a book tonight, and so he'll write a book, and it's fun to see as a parent where my son's coming from. I see it as a teacher every day, but as a parent, I love seeing my son do his writing. Because a lot of boys don't like to write. So. And the data. In confidence, K1 was 5.8% more confident in their writing. 2nd through 4 was, this is teacher, sorry. The teacher feedback. The K through 1 teachers were 5.8% more confident in teaching writing. 2 through 4 were 7%, and 5 through 6 were 7.5%. Supports academic success. 60% feel like the program is differentiated for all. The areas that they see are ELL and SPED that they still need help with. Standards. 70% of the teachers agree that it covers all the standards, where the other 30% is the 6th grade curriculum. They're using the 5th grade book instead, because we don't have a 6th grade book.
Yeah, the 6th grade series is a little bit different. It incorporates 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'll talk about that a little later, but we're going to be doing that next year. But for the pilot year, we wanted to try the 5th grade book because of the way that it was set up to show teachers exactly how it's supposed to be set up. The 6th grade through 8th grade series is a little bit different. So we went with the 5th grade series. So the teachers felt like there were some standards in 6th grade that weren't covered this year because the 5th grade series just didn't cover them.
And then compared to the Journeys embedded reading and writing, 70% of teachers like it better.
Where the program really needs help is the ELL SPED support. The program is built for the grade level, and because there isn't edible worksheets to work with to like make the reading smaller or make the strategies that they're working with smaller, next year one of the things we're going to really need to do is look at how we can produce some narrative and expository texts that our SPED and ELL could use, especially with those ones that are integrated in the traditional classroom. The opinion and argumentative is something that I mentioned in the 5th grade book. It doesn't have enough of it. And from the feedback we're getting from the 5th grade teachers is that it needs more of it because our state testing is based on opinion in 5th grade. And so that's something that we need to work on next year. The argumentative piece will be fixed for 6th grade because the 3 series does have argumentative. So that will fix hopefully for next year. Teachers are needing to have guidance in how embedded grammar looks like. Empowering writers and the author Barbara, I was trained by her and she's amazing, and one of the things she said to me is grammar is in writing everywhere. You don't need a worksheet to teach you how grammar should look. And so one of the things that we'd like to bring back to our teachers is the teachers who are successfully seeing the grammar and able to work with it in those teachable moments, we want to teach them how we can possibly do that without getting grammar worksheets or grammar books to do that. And then the last thing is more dedicated writing time across K through 6, making sure everyone has that consistent amount of time.
Something that I do with my special ed students is I work in a small group with them, even though I don't have the special ed resource teacher in my classroom. I do work with them, so it kind of helped. My husband's a special ed teacher, so that kind of lets me know what I need to do. Plus, I was a para in special ed while I was getting my teaching degree, so I kind of know those strategies to help them. So it would be good to let teachers know how they can embed that SPED support in their classroom. You don't always have to have a curriculum that has that SPED in there. You, as a teacher, also have to kind of adjust your style of teaching too for that. So, but it's helped for me having that background to be able to help my kids.
When the committee met for our last time with all of the data, the qualitative, the quantitative, all the teacher surveys, we asked, okay, so are we ready to adopt this program? And we went around the room and 70% of the teachers said they wanted one more year, and this was why. They wanted one more year to fix the holes to see if this is going to actually be helpful for all of the students, the SPED, the ELL, the general ed. Is this the program we absolutely want to have? And when we look at it, each school and each grade level needs different things. Certain schools have had certain training that other schools haven't. Certain schools have had more experience where other schools haven't. And we are willing to do that in-house as well as get some professional development out of house. The 30% that's not up there, those were the 30% of schools that were willing to adopt it right away. Bernadine, since we had the most growth, I think we gave you that data, we had 65% of our students grew from their first piece to their last piece. So we were ready to adopt. We love this program, even though we were the only school that voted against it. We saw that it changed our writers immensely. So some of the steps we're going to take for next year. First, we got on the phone with Barbara, who is the publisher and author, and we asked her some of our concerns. What were some of the things that she could guide us in? And her first answer was, well, some of your teachers already know the tools. Use them as your key. And so that is some of the things that we're going to look at next year is in-house professional development, how to get that embedded grammar, how to work with the SPED and ELL students with what we have. She also answered those key questions, the 6th through 8th grade, what their books look like for next year, how do we attack that, how do we make it best represent us, and so that's in the works of being created. K1 teachers are really concerned at how they extend their activities outside of just using this, teacher's manual. They want to see how they can incorporate it in their social studies and their science in the other classes. And the grammar was a huge component, which is something that I said that I would take on next year, showing how you use those teachable moments inside the classroom, and how we don't need a grammar book, how we could really just do with what we got. And so we're hoping that through all of these resources next year, that we will be ready for adoption for a
She did say that there is a 4th grade grammar book, a grammar book for 4th grade that we're supposed to be getting a copy of, so we can see if that will help some of the teachers. Actually, on Friday, we have our in-service day, and there's a group of us from Buffalo Jones there's 4 of us that are going to be putting on an in-service for K4 teachers, so if they would like to come, they can come.
And we're also putting on from 6 through 8
Yeah.
for next year, how their book's going to look, how their year is going to look, incorporating some of those multidisciplinary tasks that are on the test and how that works with empowering writers. So we're already in the works of trying to kind of cup these fires that we think that we might have with the program.
We're wanting to get it started now so that they can prepare over the summer and be ready, so. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I just have a quick comment. I'm really excited about how teacher motivated this was on choosing this curriculum and the work you guys have put into it, because the teachers are the ones that see the kids every day, and you guys know how they learn, and you know what you need to do to teach them, so finding a curriculum that matches with that and it coming directly from you, that means a lot, so I'm excited about that. And you said my favorite buzzword, teachable moments. I think that's so important in a curriculum, and I appreciate that you're identifying those and realizing that you don't have to stick with exactly what's there in the book, but looking for what you can bring in from the outside to provide those, for those, and being able to move the direction. And you even commented that even within the district, different schools have different needs. Even though our kids are all from the same area, just even from different buildings, there's those different needs there, so
The
I
neat thing,
appreciate that.
the neat thing that the author told us was not every class is going to be the same. Because my class might need something different than one of the other first grade classes even in my building. So that's the good thing about Empowering Writers, it's flexible. We have that flexibility. My class might need a 2-day lesson on expository writing, a topic, fighting the facts, you know. But another class, they already got it, so we can move on. So it's nice to have that flexibility in our lesson plans. And another thing is K1 doesn't have specific themes. So we can pick our own themes. Like, it's nice to add in the holidays. When Christmas comes, we can do books based on Christmas or Thanksgiving or Valentine's Day, just so the kids have that exposure to that. So that's nice to have that flexibility.
And one of the
Writing.
things I mentioned to the MTSS Curriculum Council was that our building specifically, even though we voted against it, one of the things we did this year is we separated our writing teachers from our reading teachers so that they had their own specific PLC. And that significantly helped this program because we felt like if we were going to give a program, even if we didn't want it, we were going to give it our best shot. And obviously, not only did we give it our best shot, we swung for the fences on this one, and we did pretty awesome. So we're pretty excited. And so PLC time and our principal, she listens and it matters. It mattered this year. It matters, and you can see our data. It matters, and our kids are really responding to it. So.
I had a quick question on the spelling.
Yeah.
Is that, how much is that in the curriculum, or what's
It's
the
a
focus
teachable
on?
moment situation, and so we do it on the spot.
Okay, teach me, please.
In the lower grades, we teach inventive spelling, so that they're using their sounds to try to figure out words. Plus, they're using their word wall words. We have our word walls, our high frequency words. So we train them to go look, you know, they need to spell the. It's on the word wall. So go look at the word wall, look under what does the start with. And so we're teaching them to use the word wall, use their sounds like cat if they need to spell cat, act, so that they're able to spell those words.
At the older levels, Word is a great asset with the ABC check. And also one of our 5th grade teachers had a really great idea that he shared with us in PLCs this year, is he has a word wall that's a working word wall, which I've never seen before. And if anyone asks him to spell a word, he writes it on the letter and puts it in there. And the kids have to actually look at that word wall before they come and ask him how to spell a word. So they're using their resources. Also, Empowering Writers shows them how to use a dictionary and thesaurus, which isn't usually done at 6th and 7th grade, and so that's kind of exciting as well, giving them that tool of how to use a dictionary.
Well, it's great you're teaching the kids to use all their tools, because I'm a terrible speller, but I can get by now because of technology.
Exactly.
And that's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's like, why struggle trying to work on something, a shortcoming, when you've got a tool to help you fill in that gap. So I will say, I love your excitement and your motivation. I don't want to squash it, but I am worried about grammar, not having more of a front seat. But
Absolutely.
But I'm going to trust you that it's going to blend in. And
there are some resources.
Your words teachable motor. Mine is metacognition.
We do have some resources about helping teachers to do those teachable moments with grammar. And even Barbara, when we mentioned one of the ones that we use at Bernadine Sites, she said that was one of the ones she uses, and so we're really hoping that next year we can do a professional development day showing teachers how that it's possible.
Awesome.
And in kindergarten, there's a book called Sentence of a Day. So the kids are learning how to form sentences with capital letters, spacing,
So
punctuation.
you're sneaking it in there.
So we are putting it in there and everything. So, and you teach them as you're modeling. You're teaching them the proper formation and everything of the right sentences. Any other questions, comments?
Just one, I love your enthusiasm too. I can see the program working from a kid going from K to 6th grade, you know, and just going, how hard is it gonna be, or is it gonna be easy to, a kid that comes to our district that's never been in our school, in the 4th grade, he comes in 4th grade, how easy is it gonna be to catch him up to speed to a kid that's been in this program from K through